Good morning once again, everyone, and welcome to Session 6 of the Soccer Tournament 2025 for the men's knockout round of 16, as the remaining teams battle to get one step closer to the $1 million first prize. TST rules are as follows. We play two 20-minute halves, followed by target score time. At the end of the second half, we set a target score by adding 1 to the leading team's goal count. The first team to reach that target score wins. During target score time, a player will be removed from each team every 3 minutes. Let's meet the starting lineups for this morning's game. First, for Bumpy Pitch FC. Starting in goal, number 0, Hugo Gomez. Defenders, number 4, Christian Gutierrez, and number 6, Cesar Cerda. In the midfield, number 2, Edgar Castillo. Number 10, Charlie Gonzalez, and number 99, Ernesto Espinoza. At forward, number 9, Christian Martinez Borja. Your starters for Kwik Goal FC. In goal, number 1, Hugo Silva. Defenders, number 3, Hunter Gorski. Number 5, Alex DeJohn. And number 19, Aaron Mond. In the midfield, number 9, Chandler Hoffman. And number 16, Matty Negro. At forward, number 7, Rafael Araujo. All right, fans, we're ready for kickoff between Bumpy Pitch and Kwik Goal FC.
Good morning, TST, and welcome to Day 4 and the round of 16 as we are live from WakeMed Soccer Park in Cary, North Carolina, the home of the greatest 7v7 tournament in the world, the soccer tournament. As you can see, we are a couple of minutes underway, and we do apologize for the technical difficulties, but here we are in the matchup, in the round of 16. A trip to the Elite Eight on the line for Kwik goal and Bumpy pitch. Hello again, everybody. My name is Christian Philemon, better known as Philly, and I'm with you here for the 20th time in this incredible tournament, getting to bring to you what's going to be an exciting game between two teams that are familiar with each other, as several of the players on the pitch compete against one another in leagues such as the Major Arena Soccer League and plenty of other tournaments. Real quick, before we get into the further details of the teams that are competing, let's go over the rules. This is a 7v7 competition, 2 20-minute halves of a running clock. No offside, no slide tackling, no throw-ins, and of course, as you know by now, no ties. Every game will end in what we call target scoring time. Think a golden goal in extra time. Now, our officials for today's game, Joe Surgan and John Matto. And in the words of a legendary plumber named Mario from a series of video games that we all loved, here we go, as Brandon Gomez over to his left side, connecting with defender Mitchell Cardenas. Bumpy pitch is out of Group H. They finished third in the group with a 2-1 record, but they had the most goals for in that group. They were able to move on, and they've absolutely made it interesting. They defeated Villarreal 2-1. Just the other day. Christian Martinez Borja, the Colombian Colossus in this tournament, currently the leading scorer, the Golden Boot in the TST. Kwik goal came here by way of a round of 32 match where they beat Plymouth Argyle by a score of 4-1. Vinny Dantas was the hero there. He had a brace. Kwik goal's goalkeeper, Paulo Nascimento, had an incredible performance, but he does not have the start today for Kwik goal, as Hugo Silva is in between the sticks. And those following Kwik goal will know the name Silva because he's gotten on the score sheet a couple of times. For Bumpy pitch, Brandon Gomez, the keeper there. As there you see him trying to connect up top with Borja, as Christian Gutierrez heads it into the midfield, and that one is going to come out of play. Your players to watch, I already referenced him for Bumpy pitch. Number 9, Christian Martinez Borja, the leading scorer in the tournament with 6. For Kwik goal, number 28, Vinny Dantas, who's tied with several others as the second leading scorer in the tournament with 5. And I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that both teams have players that are among the top 2 respectively in assists. They are also important to watch. Number 10 on Kwik goal and former MLS MVP and Italian international Sebastian Giovenco, an individual to keep an eye on for at Kwik goal. And number 22 on Bumpy pitch, number 22, MESL champion with the Chihuahua Savage, Martin Lara. Kwik goal throughout the course of their tournament. The results are as follows. They defeated FC Roja Eagles 3-2. They lost to Socceroo 6-4. Narrowly escaping a game against the local heroes, Raleigh Rebels FC 2-1, and then a commanding performance. Their biggest offensive output, getting hot at the right time against Plymouth Argyle and winning by a score of 4-1. Tranquilo, a lifestyle brand created by Ben Hooper. Well, they were Tranquilo, I should say. Rebranded now to Bumpy pitch, so I do apologize for that one. Tranquilo last year, Bumpy pitch this year, and of course, Bumpy pitch not only rebranding, but adding some more players on here that have helped propel them to this stage in the knockouts. They started out right here on Field 4 on Wednesday, defeating Soccer Central Saturdays football by a score of 3-1. Lost to Sneaky Fox 5-3. La Mexicana Express they beat 5-4. And in a very entertaining low-scoring game where that man, Christian Borja, scored 2, they won there. Now the winner of this matchup will take on the winner of City Soccer SC and Drip FC as Hugo Silva puts that back in the play over to Jonatas Melo, who scored in yesterday's game. Melo, a member with the Baltimore Blast, as that foul is going to be assessed to Cesar Cerda. drawing the foul on the pitch. Matty Negro. Couple of moments into this game, 7 or so, and I know we came on the air a little later. Just wanted to address that again. Thank you so much for tuning back into us. We've all heard the phrase, dangle a carrot in front of, which obviously means to persuade someone or do something simply by offering them a reward. And not sure why it's a carrot, but I can tell you that I haven't seen many or any rabbits on the pitch. What I can tell you, though, is that in the case of this TST, that carrot is, in fact, $1 million. That's enough motivation for anyone who has a heartbeat and the ability to breathe. I bring that up because that's exactly what's on the line. Starting this day, 16 teams, a little less now, but teams gunning for $1 million. And shout out to Lil Wayne. And here we are, back on field 4, as that one sails into the hands of Brandon Gomez. Cerda back over to Gomez. Amazing that we are well over the halfway mark as far as this tournament is concerned. I think this might be game number, this is game number 115 confirmed. 134 games will be played in total by the time this all concludes on Tuesday. Kwik goal in their second year in the TST. Their first year, they were known as the Conrad and Beasley United squad. Last year, they were the number 1 seed overall, finishing with no blemishes on their record, with the best goal differential, but lost to NCFC 2 by a score of 2-1. But clearly, they've learned from that experience as they are further along with a chance to continue to get closer to that big bag of money. And it'd be curious to see how big of a bag one would need in today's day and age to hold $1 million. Of course, no one's going to get a whole bunch of cash there. Got to keep track of it. It's going to come in the form of a check and split up amongst all the participants, the sponsors, the investors, so on and so forth. But what an incredible tournament from the start up until now. 1,000 teams have applied to be in the TST since it got started a couple of years ago. And we are down to the final 16 here on this beautiful and sunny day in North Carolina. If you're local and getting ready to come out, I highly advise the sunblock and maybe some moisture-wicking shirts. Otherwise, you're going to be moving around like North Carolina legend Petey Pablo, wanting to take off your shirt and wave it around the hair just like a helicopter. Silva advances it across the midfield, connecting to Vinny Dantas, vicious Vinny Dantas. One of the leading scorers in this tournament is Andy Reyes intercepts, and that bounces over to Silva as Martin Lara almost collides with Silva. Breno Oliveira going back to his keeper, looking around the pitch, just so much talent from the indoor world. This team is managed by U.S. men's national legend and one of my favorite pundits on CBS Sports, Golasso Network's Morning Footy Show. I thought I was a man that's operating with a lot of energy and high octane. I've jokingly said that I drink enough caffeine to make coffee nervous, but I think Jimmy Conrad rivals me there. He's rostered as number 12, but of course he's not going to play. We haven't seen him play, and he mentioned it on Morning Footy that he isn't. As Munir Alami, right around center pitch, touchline, just in front of me, goes back over to his keeper, Brandon Gomez. Gomez competed last year in the TST with Saturday's football. And from Charlie Gonzalez over to Duvier Orlando Riascos Barahana. We've mentioned the name Christian Borja a couple of times. A little background on him, a professional footballer from Colombia. He's had quite the spell of travel in his career, playing, of course, in Colombia, playing over in Brazil with Flamengo, heading on over to Eastern Europe, playing over at Red Star Belgrade, where he had 43 appearances and 11 goals, as that one goes into the capable paws of Hugo Silva. Red Star Belgrade, if you're into the supporters culture, some of the best supporters culture you'll ever see. The optics between their fireworks and their tifos is incredible. I highly recommend checking that out. His travels have also continued to lead him around the world, and he's had success. We go back to that Red Star Belgrade team. He's part of the Serbian Cup winning team in 2011 and 2012. Played over at Veracruz, America de Cali, just to name a couple of teams. So remember that name, folks, Christian Borja, wearing the number 9 for Bumpy Pitch, the leading scorer in this tournament. Can he continue to pad those stats? Will he walk out with another award? Will Bumpy Pitch, more importantly, walk out with a dub? Well, you got to stick around to find that one out as Oliveira goes. The shot gets fired, saved by Gomez. Shot taken by number 3, Hunter Gorski, the former Stanford Cardinal. You know he's going to have an interest in the 12 o'clock game as some of his former potential teammates and friends over at Cardinal Legacy are going to get ready to take the pitch against Nani FC in what's going to be an interesting one on field 3. That pass comes in to Christian Gutierrez, Golden Gutierrez as they call him, a member of the San Diego Sockers, the Lords of Indoor in the Major Arena Soccer League. It oftentimes frustrates me when I hear that San Diego doesn't have any championship teams. I call horse pucky on that. The San Diego Sockers, 16 indoor titles, that rivals a lot of the great dynasties across all sports in this country. And there are several members of that San Diego Sockers team that have achieved incredible success, winning Ron Newman Cup championships. In fact, the San Diego Sockers are so important in the world of indoor that the championship trophy is named after their legendary coach, Ron Newman. Martin Lara trying to get past Breno Oliveira. Breno Oliveira boxing him in. Breno currently with the Milwaukee Wave, originally with the Florida Tropics, a hard-nosed player who has no problem getting scrappy and aggressive against the competition. Started out at Sao Paulo FC, came into the United States playing at Trinity Baptist College, part of the U.S. futsal squad as well. The travel and the stamps that soccer players get throughout their careers, fascinating. How one can go from Brazil to Indiana, because that's where Breno played at one point, to competing in a tournament in Cary, North Carolina, the 7th most populous municipality in the state, as that one gets launched in by Silva to the left. Headed out by Andy Reyes into Alan Perez. Alan Perez gets taken down by Amir Lowry. Lowry, familiar to these parts as he was a Demon Deacon over at Wake Forest. Played in the MLS with the Rapids, the KC Wizards, now known as Sporting Kansas City, San Jose, the Montreal Impact. But one thing I think he's most proud of is his open goal project in D.C., helping low-income families and underserved communities have their ability to play the sports they love. Soccer in particular should be for everybody. Cardenas trying to connect in with number 99, Ernesto Espinosa. And we're having so much fun, I didn't even realize that we're 5 minutes away from halftime, folks. That's what happens when you have that running clock. The only time it will stop is if there's a player down on the ground injured or if there's an official whistle. Feeling a slight gust of wind here, which is oh so pleasant. Silva, originally a futsaler out of Brazil, played with Fluminense. Vasco da Gama, part of the Brazilian national futsal team. In the MASL, most recently with the Harrisburg Heat. For those unfamiliar with that name, you might know the name Christian Pulisic. Well, his dad played for the Harrisburg Heat a long time. In fact, from what I'm told through my contacts in the MASL, you might see Mr. Pulisic at those Heat games from time to time. Kept in play. Leroy Nzagazi. Over to Cardenas. Cardenas, the type of defender who usually is responsible for locking down opposing teams' target forwards. Back over to Gomez. Gomez playing in Niso with the LA Force before making his way over to the Empire Strikers of the MASL. Empire Strikers may sound like a Star Wars team to you, but I can assure you a very competitive team that is on the rise in the Major Arena Soccer League. Dantas try to go into the box, but that stifling defense of Bumpy Pitch in those beautiful green kits created by Ben Hooper. Now, I'm not a fan personally of the collars on the kits, but just the contrast that they have. Stylish, not only for playing on the field, but I would wear one of those on a night out on the town with my wife. And that one comes out of play. It's Thiago Freitas, Brazilian futsaler, has it out. Also an indoor player. And that one comes out of play.
2.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Scoreless between Kwik FC and Bumpy Pitch.
So no surprise here as these two teams are still tied at 0-0. Very competitive teams with players that are very familiar with one another. Threaded through and in. Got a good crowd here on Field 4. Have some good games going on throughout the course of the day. After this one, we're going to quickly sprint on over to Field 3 for the Nani match against Cardinal Legacy. Nani, obviously featuring the legendary Portuguese international. But he's not the only legend on that team, folks. Ricardinho, one of the greatest futsalers to ever live on that team. And in addition to him, the all-time leading scorer in the Major Arena Soccer League, the Highness himself, the king, Frank Tayu. Pass in from Gonzalez into Gutierrez, and Jonatas Melo takes it. Araujo on the run. Crossing through on that right side was Jonatas Melo, but Araujo unable to thread the needle and connect with him. Silva settling things down.
1 minute remaining.
As we see Dwayne Di Rosario, Canadian national team legend, obviously Major League Soccer legend as well. Played with the Earthquakes, the Dynamo, Toronto FC, the New York Red Bull, and DC United. The Red Bull organization has certainly pocketed a lot of my money throughout the course of the years, mainly because of the fact that I like to consume their sugar-free beverage. It's what keeps me going on days like this. 30 seconds left in the first half. Will Kwik goal find one and make Bumpy Pitch see red? And more than just the red on their kits. Back over to Lowry. He's being pressured up by Barahana. Head coach Jimmy Norberg of Bumpy Pitch. Looks like he's hanging on to Borja, wanting to keep him fresh. Official blows the whistle, signifying the end of the first half. So, folks, we're going to head into the break with the score between Bumpy Pitch and Kwik goal tied at 0. Back in a moment, you are watching the TST on YouTube. Welcome back to Field 4 here in Cary, North Carolina. You are watching the matchup between Kwik Goal FC and Bumpy Pitch. Both teams are knotted up at a goose egg a pop, 0-0. Your stats, Bumpy Pitch only with 3 shots, none on target. For Kwik Goal, they've only had 1 shot, but 1 shot on target. So not a lot of firepower yet as they're waking up in the morning trying to get going. So we have a battle in the box. Ball is loose. Vicious Vinny Dantas is going to body Andy Reyes off the ball. And there we see Mitchell Cardenas getting ready to put things into play. And look, I got to tell you once again, I'm a man that likes some style. If you see the way I dress in the Major Arena Soccer League, you'll understand why. Those Bumpy Pitch kits presented by Flight Sports, they are incredible. In fact, all of the Flight Sports kits I've seen this week are incredible. And even the word incredible is an understatement. Besides Bumpy Pitch, if you tuned into the Hope Solo games, La Bomboneras, Reunion City, heck, even the Drunken Monkeys, they're all rocking Flight. So check out Flight, not spelled the way you might originally intend to go towards it, but Flight, F-L-I-T-E. Check out their gear. You could get some custom apparel, and maybe even one of the kits that we've just mentioned. Flight, it's fantastic. Ball goes on the left to Mitchell Cardenas. Now, saw Sebastian Giovenco start the game. We haven't seen much of Sebastian Giovenco today, but number 10, incredibly fast. He won the Co-Golden Boot last year with 6 goals. Had 6 goals last tournament. We got a player on Bumpy Pitch that has 6 goals, and that of Borja. Vinny Dantas, 28 for Kwik Goal, 5 goals. Well, if he had 28 goals, I mean, Kwik Goal would have one heck of a goal differential. But both teams looking to move forward into the next round as that shot by Gomez goes into the wilderness. And I was here late last night, heard a lot of sounds in the woods that I'd never heard before living in New York City. So with all those size 5 miter balls that have landed in the woods, the beasts out there might be having their own version of a TST. Or at the very least, a nice rubber snack or leather snack. Miters, the official ball supplier of the TST. Oliveira making the defensive play, poking it away from Espinosa. Charlie Gonzalez, another member of the San Diego Sockers, getting it to his teammate. Alan Perez, of the Empire Strikers, scored a fantastic goal here just the other day. And the defense by Breno denying number 99, Ernesto Espinosa, playing his initial career with Club Tijuana, also with the U.S. Youth National Team in 2018 and 2019. That is the man to keep your eye on. There we see him trying to barrel through. Christian Borja. Christian Borja's shot comes off of the legs of Rafael Araujo. Araujo, a member of the United States national futsal team, collegiately at Rutgers Newark, playing with the Florida Tropics, the Harrisburg Heat, most recently with the St. Louis Ambush, had himself a stellar season with 13 goals and 6 assists. There you see Breno Oliveira. Hello, Breno. Silva moving it up, looking on over to his left. Potentially, anyway. Up he goes into Dwayne Di Rosario. Very cool seeing Sebastian Giovenco and Dwayne Di Rosario on the pitch. Giovenco the other day in one of the games that we called was so incredibly effective, but he hit the post 3 times. Could have easily had a hat trick in one game. And this is where he is incredibly dangerous. From outside of the box, on free kicks. And so it'll either be him or Breno. I assume it will be Giovenco. And Brandon Gomez is going to have to be careful. He goes low and then high. That one bouncing in towards field 3. As Bumpy Pitch recovers possession. Look at the confidence and the calmness of Cesar Cerda. His number 2, Jack Beck, went after him aggressively. Jack Beck, who played his college soccer in the Big West for Michigan State. He went at him with a lot of pizzazz, and Cerda just unfazed. Under 15 minutes to go here in the second half. Munir Alami gets it poked away from Breno. Alami was on a list of 3 for newcomers of the year in the Major Arena Soccer League. As he makes contact with Breno. Official not calling anything, says play on. Gomez to Cerda. There we see the legendary Jimmy Conrad just to the left of him.
14 minutes remaining in regulation.
See Jack Beck, hungry, looking to poach one from Bumpy Pitch. Running back and forth, side to side, and speaking of which, I didn't even bother telling you the dimensions of the field. 65 yards long, 45 yards wide, with goals 6.5 feet high, 18.5 feet wide. There you have your metrics. As we get closer to target score time, the other TST acronym, we'll tell you about those rules. Cerda through to Cardenas. A sea of red in the box. You see Andy Reyes. Andy Reyes recently traveling quite a bit from California all across the United States to Frankfurt, Germany, over into Baku, Azerbaijan with the World Mini Football Team. Shot by Charlie Gonzalez. Nearly turned into a Charlie Golasso as he was aiming for that upper right corner. Charlie Gonzalez leading this Bumpy Pitch team in terms of assists, but he can score some bangers. Very calm on the ball, tough to dispossess. Loves to get his teammates involved in the action, but can't score the goals when he needs to himself. Gutierrez. There we see Vinny Dantas poking that back. Vinny Dantas, one of my favorite players to watch in the Major Arena Soccer League. The man is incredibly fast. He is agile, and he is aggressive. In a way, it's an organized chaos, but in the most beautiful of forms. Vinny Dantas on that list of arguably one of the best players in the Major Arena Soccer League. A legendary career that he's carved out for himself. And it's not just an indoor where he's succeeded. Played collegiately at Azusa Pacific, Bodo Klimt in Norway. They had some recognition recently for the Europas. There we see Dantas trying to circle it past Gutierrez, but Dantas wins the corner as one of his former teammates, Jonatas Melo, puts it into play. Jose Pires Ribeiro, affectionately known as Dodo, Brazilian, played in Serie A with the likes of Roma, Inter, Sampdoria, also with Atletico Mineiro. I was in a rock and roll band for a number of years, and my drummer, a Brazilian, a huge fan of Atletico Mineiro. Ronaldinho called that home at some point. And Dodo competed with the Brazilian national team. Back in 2014, he played in a couple of friendlies against Argentina and Japan. The amount of talent running through soccer-crazed Brazil, even being considered for the national team, is an incredible honor. Going to camp, let alone coming up and playing a couple of games. Silva Inadi Rosario. See another U.S. men's national legend, Jonathan Bornstein. Bornstein, a Rookie of the Year in Major League Soccer. Play with Chivas USA, team that is no longer in existence. I know Galaxy fans out there will say, no, that's a lie. They're called LAFC now, but I can assure you, not a pen or a paper clip ever went from Chivas USA to LAFC. Intercepted by Melo. Melo to Lowry. Great defense by Perez. a former UC Riverside Highlander, played collegiately in the Big West. And shout out to the Highlanders, as I call their men and women's college soccer on ESPN, their men and women's college basketball and baseball. So we're under 10 minutes to go. Probably a good time for us to tell you about the target score time. So if this result holds, basically would be next goal wins. So after this is done, we go into a 7v7 scenario where if no result is had within 3 minutes, then a player gets removed from each side, going from 7v7 to 6v6. Nothing goes on there. In 3 minutes, 6v6 to 5v5, so on and so forth, until we get down to no less than 2v2. And if you've been tuning into my broadcasts, offer it up, or maybe some of the other ones, I don't want to speak for everybody, but some of the most interesting metrics, at least prior to yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I should say, we saw the most goals when it would be 3v3. The second most during a 7v7 scenario. The least amount, and I'll give you a second at home to ponder that thought. The least amount of target scores, where do you think it would be? Most of you would probably assume 2v2, but in reality, 6v6. But I'm sure that stat has changed, as we're already now at game 111. And I don't even know if we were past the 60s when those data miners came up with that figure. Gomez. Out of Vanguard University, over to Cerda. You saw Jack Beck think twice about aggressively going at Cerda, knowing that Cerda put him on skates not too long ago. Gomez. One of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And I don't say that term loosely. Brandon Gomez has worked incredibly hard as a keeper, scoring some great goals in the Major Arena Soccer League. Just an all-around awesome human being. Space opened up momentarily as that ball goes into the right to Cerda. They're trying to get their big target forward, Borja, involved offensively. He hasn't had many touches as Amir Lowry telling him to go. Borja pushing him off. Borja, just an extensive career around the world. Have to double check with head coach Jimmy Norberg if his Colombian footballer was in fact the one I found data on. He confirmed it with me. And Jimmy Norberg knows what he's talking about. Came up in the Southern California rankings with some incredible talent. Can lay claim to the fact that Carlos Bocanegra and Nick Raimondo among his best friends as they grew up together playing. Jimmy Norberg, Coach of the Year in the Major Arena Soccer League. Back in 2021, where he took the then Ontario Fury to the MASL Finals, where they lost to the San Diego Sockers. And I know I've got some San Diego Sockers fans right to the left of me that certainly love that comment. Trying to give all the wonderful teams in the Major Arena Soccer League some love because there are over 130 players here. And a lot of them have led and contributed to the success of this tournament. In fact, many of you would be surprised to know that Pumas de Alabama, a team with a lot of small-sided players, just defeated Sergio Aguirre's side. Looking for a handball in the box. Not sure if the official saw that one. I got it from the right, but he says play on. As we saw potential handball on Dodo. Araujo, he's going to take down Borja, and Borja is down on the ground. Official showing Araujo a yellow. Charlie Gonzalez is going to head on over to his target forward to see if he's okay. Borja back on his feet. Araujo offers an apology real quick. Look, so much on the line, folks. Things like this are going to happen, but great sportsmanship that we've seen. A lot of these guys know each other real well. I don't really quite understand why Borja was trying to get settled, and number 11, Thiago Freitas, just wanted to roll it from him. Talking about the sportsmanship, I'm not going to give you my opinion on that, but we play on.
5 minutes remaining until target score time.
Thiago having played recently with the Iowa Demon Hawks in the M2. Very dangerous and talented squad featuring a number of excellent Brazilians. So Borja and Gonzalez, two players that can absolutely bend it like Beckham. We're under 5 to go. Will this be the moment that Bumpy pitch makes Kwik goal see red? The shot into a wall. Bumpy pitch looking for another handball call. Nothing there as that one rolls out. See Alex DeJohn played collegiately at Old Dominion over in Scandinavia with Finland and Norway. In Finland and Norway, not with. 12 games with Orlando City back in 2019, 2020. Part of Pittsburgh Riverhounds in the USL, Atlanta United. A lot of run in Norway. Under the 4-minute mark. If it stands right now, our target score will be 1. Next goal wins. Alami chases it to prevent a counterattack from Kwik goal. Gomez with the fancy footwork. Intercepted by Dantas. Dantas has it in the box, and he's going to use his size to try to go around the smaller Andy Reyes. But Andy Reyes, don't let that size fool you. Man's got a heart of an 8-footer. Back over to Mello. Mello, member of the Baltimore Blast. As elite as the San Diego Sockers are historically in indoor. Shot fired, and that one just misses. We had one of those ooh moments as Team Kwik goal nearly struck first with Aaron Mound, who scored just the other night. As part of that 4-1 game against Plymouth Argyle. I want to give a shout out to all the folks in Plymouth. I really enjoyed doing the research and calling y'all's first game. Some of the best fans, yes, I agree, some of the best fans that we've seen here at the TST. Also a great pop-up in the Fan Fest. We're 2.5 minutes away from target score time. Alami to Cardenas. We don't see Borja in, but in the box, looking to serpentine his way through defenders. Number 19, Leroy Nzaguzzi. There's Nzaguzzi right along that midfield as he comes off. In comes Jonathan Bornstein. And the big-bodied Borja. How you like that for an alliteration? Cardenas. Breno offering some token pressure. Approaching that 90-second mark quickly. Bornstein. To Alami. Fans starting to get into it here on the right. We're hearing chants of let's go Kwik goal. They would love to have a Kwik goal here. Kwik goal, the official sponsor of Kwik goal. Shot deflects. Great job by Alami. Trying to be creative and threatening in the box. And that's going to be a foul against the Moroccan international. I mentioned Kwik goal, the main sponsor, producer of very high-quality soccer equipment. Notice they brought a lot of members on their media content team. Mello, see the sweat, even from my perspective, trickling down his forehead, going to Silva. Interesting that we haven't seen Nascimento. Nascimento has been on the bench, had a great game yesterday. Nascimento got the Golden Gloves for keeper of the tournament back in 2023 with the Victors, Newtown Pride. 13 seconds remaining. That's a dangerous man, even from that position. Don't be surprised if you see Silva fire one in with 5 seconds to go, as he does, and that one sails over to field 3. And so on our scoreboard, the clock has gone down to 0, and the official blows his whistle, making it official. Folks, we're heading in to the target score time. We're going to take a 2-minute break. We'll come back. We'll go back to the Department of Redundancy Department to explain the rules again, and we'll see who gets to walk away from the Sweet 16 and on to the Elite 8. Back in a moment here on Field 4. Welcome back, folks. My name's Christian Filliman, better known as Philly, and I have a confession to make. I might have lied to you a moment ago. I said we'd be back in 2 minutes. It's been a little more than 2 minutes, but that's okay. Both teams with their final last-minute discussions and preparations. Definitely some hydration with the way the sun is beaming down on a lot of these boys. And we're now ready for target score time. The target score is 1. Next goal wins for either side. So this is crucial. If no result occurs within the first 3 minutes, We go from the 7v7 format to a 6v6. No result after 6v6. Well, 7, we go to 6s. But you're veterans. You've heard me say that. No less than 2v2. Gutierrez to Cerda. Oh, back over to Gomez. Gomez to Cerda. We're seeing some pressure now. Now, Bumpy pitch. Is that going to have no problem hanging on to things and forcing players such as the likes of a number 9 Chandler Hoffman, as you see there on your screen, come up. Trying to get as many players from Kwik goal up just so they can get a quick counter attack to find the back of the net. And speaking of Chandler Hoffman, went to UCLA, played in Major League Soccer with the Union, the LA Galaxy, the Houston Dynamo. In fact, Hoffman got himself a ring with the LA Galaxy in 2014. He was a part of that squad. Also has himself a ring during his time with the Real Monarchs during that 2017 season in the USL. I think most recently having competed in NISA with the LA Force, also at Orange County Soccer Club. For Californians, and I guess I'll lay claim to that since I've lived in LA for 10 years, originally from New York, we're no longer used to the humidity that we have here in the East Coast. So I'd be curious to know how some of these players are responding, in particular the ones that forever have been outdoors in Southern California and forever indoors. Folks, the winner of this one is going to possibly go on a date with Drip FC or City Soccer. So that game is going to be on at 12:15. Many of you might have the Nani game at 12. If you do, I'll be on that call against Cardinal Legacy. But if you're interested in these teams, tune into that one, City Soccer versus Drip. It'll either be Kwik goal or Bumpy pitch that are going to take them on in the 8. And I know I've been saying terms like Sweet 16, Elite 8, terms normally reserved for the college basketball. We see some Amarillo Bombers in the house. All right, some more indoor there. Some La Bombonera kits made by Flight. We referred to them earlier, as well as the Calafino sponsor. Calafino, fine tequila out of Southern California. Of course, the tequila itself is made in Jalisco. You can't call it the tequila unless it's made right around there. I would recommend their Extra Añejo. I would start there. But we're not promoting. Well, yes, we are. Anyway, we move on. Gomez. Gomez to Gonzalez. Gonzalez in a 2v2 situation the other day scored the game winner. Affectionately dubbed him Charlie Golasso. There is Charlie Gonzalez. Pressure from Maddie. Number 16. Played with FC Motown in the NPSL as well as Phoenix Rising in the USL. Professionally in Iceland as well. Cardenas. So you can see the frustration on the face of Jimmy Conrad. At this point, this tactic certainly tests the patience of those on the field. Gomez's shot. It's good. It's good. The game winner. Bumpy pitch wins the ball game. Que golazo, Brandon Hugo Gomez. Bumpy pitch in target score time with the game winner. Bumpy pitch making Kwik goal see red. You can see the looks on their face. Kwik goal played the best they could. Araujo getting helped up to the ground. He is beside himself. But when you have a keeper as talented as Brandon Gomez, who's done that time and time again in the Major Arena Soccer League, you can't let a player of that quality and caliber get that much space and an open look. Brandon Gomez will be awarded with the Golden Fleece presented by Adidas. That fleece is a scarf, not a fleece. Too darn hot to wear a fleece. But that fleece, which is a scarf, you get the point, will entitle him to lifetime admission to the TST and the TBT, the granddaddy of them all, the basketball tournament. So, folks, that about wraps it up for us here on Field 4. Your final score, Bumpy Pitch 1, Kwik goal 0. Bumpy Pitch moves on to the next round as they await the winner of City Soccer and Drip FC, which will be kicking off at 12:15. On behalf of myself, Christian Filliman, otherwise known as Philly, our production staff, our public address announcer, our scorekeeper, and our statistician, we want to say thank you so much for tuning in to game number 115 it was, here at the TST on Field 4. Stick around, though. There's plenty more action to be had. If you want to hear my raspy voice in my 21st call, I'll be over there with Cardinal Legacy and Nani on Field 3. See you all soon.